Hello, my name is Harwood-Gross and I'm Director of Research at Metiv, the Israel Psychotrauma Center, and also a clinical psychologist. Parenting during COVID-19 was tough. Parents had to be teachers, friendship groups, support, mums and dads, and also juggle their work, and in our case, their studies at university. It was really tough. There were a lot of added pressures. We came to our research by finding that in the clinic, people who we thought would suffer the most during the COVID-19 pandemic actually thrived. In some cases, people who had really difficult psychological difficulties came into their own during the pandemic. We studied in our research students at universities in Israel, and we looked at whether there was a difference between parents and non-parents in terms of psychological growth, post-traumatic growth, the growth that follows a traumatic event. And in our case, we used COVID-19 as a really unsettling event. We studied parents and non-parents, and we also studied the two ethnic or cultural groups that we see in our universities in Israel: Israeli Jewish students and also Palestinian Arab citizens. First, we found that, potentially even contrary to expectations, that parents experience more post-traumatic growth than non-parents in the university environment. Furthermore, when we looked at this difference compared to the two ethnic groups, Palestinian Arab citizens overall experienced greater growth during the pandemic. And we should note they had a lot of more difficulties than the Israeli Jewish group overall during the pandemic. So we're not saying they had fewer difficulties. No, we're saying that they had greater psychological growth. And in this population, it was Palestinian Arab dads, fathers, who experienced the most post-traumatic growth. So why is this? Firstly, in terms of explaining the post-traumatic growth for parents, it really draws back to what we work on in the clinic. The idea of meaning and the idea of mastery. Meaning, in terms of parenthood, is that we have a greater purpose. During the COVID-19 pandemic, parents really had to work for their children to create a stable home life, to keep things running, to keep things sane and functioning. It was really difficult. But this sense of meaning that I'm doing it for someone other than myself is really important. Even more so, the society that we live in Israel in particular, really promotes childbirth. We have a high birth rate compared to European countries, for example, and the importance of children is a crucial part of the culture. Also, mastery can be drawn upon here. The transition to parenthood can be a trigger for post-traumatic growth. It's not necessarily a traumatic event, becoming a parent, but it's so unsettling that it really can be a pivot for spiritual, interpersonal and personal growth following the event. Likewise, this transition is really difficult, and if you can cope with it and grow from becoming a parent, so much more so that further traumatic or unsettling events can then be a trigger for growth. I can do this. I became a parent. That was really tough. I've got this. So when we look at the two ethnic groups in our population, Palestinian Arab citizens and Israeli citizens, what was it about Palestinian Arab citizens that the fathers had such a stark difference and a much greater post-traumatic growth than mothers? So here we look at the culture again. Just like we said, the two cultures really promote childbirth, especially in Palestinian Arab culture, which we refer to with other references in our article, which talk in greater detail about this culture. There's a high emphasis on parents, the fathers, going out to work, providing sustenance, supporting the family and really developing their professional career. And mothers are much more expected to stay at home and look after the family. So mothers who are in higher education and furthering themselves in their career, that might not be seen or valued as highly as fathers. And so you need this cultural platform in order to have the psychological growth following unsettling or traumatic events. And we see this in our clinic. we have to take in consideration in our work with parents, both that parenthood can be such a huge burden, but also a platform for growth, but also that this is so dependent on the culture and the socioeconomic environment that we live in, of how we can transition from a state of stress and trauma to a state of growth and thriving. Thank you.